My bully borrowed my pens every single day for months, so I gave him one with disappearing ink for our final exam. I survived being the new girl at 6 schools by 17, which means you learn to disappear fast, and by the time I landed at Westfield Academy, I'd perfected the art of being invisible. You know the type, the golden boy who walks through life like it owes him something, with that perfect smile teachers fall for and parents brag about at conferences. Since December, Harrison had turned me into his personal supply store, starting every morning with "got a spare pen?" like it was his birthright, and by February I'd gone through 3 full packs of Bics watching him pocket them, knowing they'd never return. When I switched to cheaper ones, he actually complained about the quality while taking them anyway, because apparently beggars can be choosers when they look like Harrison. But the pen theft was just the appetizer to his full-course meal of making my life miserable, because Harrison didn't just want my supplies, he wanted my work too. During every test, I'd feel him lean over just enough to see my paper, copying my answers with the confidence of someone who'd never been caught. And the worst part was he was right, because teachers loved him too much to notice. When we got our mock results back and his scores matched mine perfectly, Mrs. Kim actually praised him for his improvement, and I bit my tongue so hard it bled. The mockery started next, with Harrison telling everyone I walked like a penguin, then upgraded to calling me goat, because my eyes were apparently too far apart for his aesthetic preferences. By March, he'd told everyone I'd begged him out and wouldn't take no for an answer, complete with fake screenshots he'd somehow created. And suddenly, I was the desperate girl who couldn't accept rejection. Random year 9s would make goat noises at me in the corridors while making kissing sounds, and I'd keep walking with my head down, counting the days until exams would end this nightmare. Then came the moment that broke something inside me, when Mrs. Kim announced to the entire class, "Harrison, why don't you move your seat next to Sarah? You focus so much better there, and she's such a good influence on your work." She literally sanctioned his cheating by putting him right next to me, and Harrison's smirk told me he knew exactly what gift he'd just been given. The night before our GCSE mathematics exam, I sat in my room staring at my desk drawer where I kept random stuff from over the years, and that's when I saw it, the joke pen from a book fair 2 years ago. Disappearing ink, right now, gone tomorrow. The label screamed in Comic Sans, and I remembered buying it for £3 thinking it would be funny for April Fools or something. The pen looked completely normal otherwise, just a basic black ballpoint that could pass for any generic pen, and as I held it up to my desk lamp, I realized the universe had just handed me justice wrapped in cheap plastic. I spent 10 minutes carefully removing the label with acetone and a razor blade, making sure no residue remained, then tested it on scrap paper to confirm the ink really did vanish after a day like the package claimed. The next morning, I held yesterday's test paper up to the window and smiled at the blank page that had been full of equations 12 hours ago, then tucked the trick pen into the front pocket of my bag where I usually kept his daily donation. Sure enough, 8:47 a.m. when we sat down, Harrison appeared with his signature, "Got a spare pen?" and I handed over the prepared pen with the same resigned expression I'd perfected over months of this ritual. During the exam, I positioned my paper at just the right angle where Harrison could see it clearly from his teacher-sanctioned seat, and for the first time all year, I didn't bother shielding my answers with my arm. I worked through each problem methodically, taking my time with the calculations and making sure my handwriting was neat and readable, practically inviting him to copy every number and equation. Harrison took the bait beautifully, his pen moving in perfect synchronization with mine as he transcribed my answers with the desperation of someone who'd never learned to swim, but jumped in the deep end anyway. 3 hours of him furiously copying my work while I pretended not to notice, and when the exam ended, Harrison actually looked relieved, probably thinking he'd just secured another stolen pass, completely unaware that every answer he'd written was already fading into nothing. Results came in August. I passed everything and headed to 6th form while Harrison failed mathematics with a completely blank paper that left his parents bewildered. I heard he'd had a complete meltdown at the exam board office, his dad shouting about system errors while Harrison kept insisting he'd written 3 hours of answers, but the paper stayed blank and the verdict stayed failed. He had to retake math daily at college, then failed the May resit because Harrison couldn't solve an equation without me to copy from, and the beautiful part was, he never suspected the pen, just kept telling people he must have blanked out from stress while I went to college free, and he spent another year learning the math he never bothered to learn when he had me.